I'm calling this talk Expressing from a Place of Wholeness. Rather than expressing from a place of neediness. And there is a distinct difference between the way the ego expresses itself and the way that truth or wholeness expresses itself. And they have similar qualities, but you'll recognize the difference in yourself, hopefully. And you'll see how wholeness expresses itself out of joy and frivolity. So we're going to talk about the expression of something much deeper within you, rather than always expressing craving or needing or attention. So stick around, and I'll help you decipher the difference. And hopefully you'll start expressing yourself from a place of wholeness. Stick around. One could say that the ego desires. And we can also say that the deeper truth within you desires to bring something forth into reality. One could easily say that the deeper part of you needs to express itself, and the superficial part of you has what you might call a craving. So it's born out of a different feeling. The ego this is the part of you that perceives something to be missing, something to be incomplete, and something you can't live without. But these types of cravings are very much like addictions. They are addictions. You could say, I'm really craving potato chips. And you can eat an entire bag of potato chips. And every potato chip makes you want another one. That's the kind of expression the ego does. It is an unsavory, unsatisfactory amplification of emptiness. I've said this before, but it's like wanting Chinese food and chomping down on greasy, salty, sweet food and never finding that nourishment you're looking for. So the ego doesn't understand the craving of nourishment, you see. So we have a part of us that craves what you would call comfort food. But comfort food leaves you feeling empty. And the things that we crave, like money, attention, a partner, a better house, a better job, none of it is born out of a sense of satisfaction. And so the more you pursue and the more you consume, the less comfortable you become, which is funny because it's kind of comforting. I mean, think about the science behind an addiction, about the science behind a compulsion, for example. A smoker cannot live without a cigarette first thing in the morning, and that doesn't satisfy them. That increases the craving. A cigarette satisfies something on the surface, but the surface keeps craving. It's hedonistic. So most of us are expressing egoic desire, which is kind of compulsive. It's getting some attention and realizing that that attention doesn't give you anything. It's giving you a promotion and you realize that promotion doesn't give you anything. It's giving you a certain amount of money that you realize that no amount gives you anything. Like there is no amount of money that can fill your stomach. See, that's the thing about a spiritual yearning, is that there is nothing out there that can give you what you think you need. So the ego is a phantom craving. Until you discover what I call sovereignty. And just being itself has this sovereignty, this immunity, this joy, this effervescent peace that comes when the cravings die. This is what's interesting about sitting still, which is the only cure for a craving or an addiction, is to sit still. You feel this pull to get up and move. That doesn't feel like you. That's what you might call fidgetiness. And if you observe your body, you might notice that your ankle fidgets or your hand moves. I mean, these are things that, who's doing this? Why aren't you aware of the fidgetiness or the extra motion in the body? And we call that productivity. Like, oh, I can't sit still because I feel like I need to be productive. But this is the most productive thing you could do, is to notice the compulsive body, the fidgetiness. It's called restlessness. It's like some people have restless leg syndrome. The ego is restless body syndrome, restless mind syndrome. And so disciplining yourself is learning to sit still when you have that craving, or to notice that your hand automatically picks up your phone, or that your body automatically takes you to the kitchen to pig out on chips, or your body automatically tunes into Netflix and veges out. All these things where 5 hours go by and all you've done is sit there in a vicious circle. And that's what a comfort zone is. It's a vicious circle of thought. You're expressing yourself. You're expressing yourself in a rut. You're feeding yourself more craving. It's weird to think that egoically, the very thing you hunger for makes you hungry. The very thing you think will satisfy, secure you, give you peace, gives you more anxiety. And money is really one of those things. Because the question would be, how much does it cost to give you peace? And everybody knows peace is free. And so is spiritual freedom. The nonsense that freedom is not free is nonsense. The very nature of spiritual liberation is that you are free from what I call outer source deviation. A friend of mine and I were discussing a book he's reading about changing the culture, about leadership. And it had to do with, he's a church musician and I'm a former church musician, so we were talking about the state of the church, which I love. I love to pick on the church. Because the establishment needs to be shaken up, and that's what Jesus did. He shook up the establishment, because the Pharisees and the Sadducees were asleep. The church is asleep. So we're talking about the sorry state of the church. And he said, I read this book and it said that what makes a church grow is that it's attached to a school, new churches, new buildings, and good parking and these sorts of things. And I said, hold on. How do you know that these so-called outer sources are what make a church grow or whatever? How do we know it's not the engineer, the CEO, the leadership? And see, this is where this understanding is very important, because when you're at a place of fulfillment, you have a growth mindset. This is what's weird. The ego has a lack mindset, which would always create a formula like, if I had a school, if I had a school attached to this church, it would grow. If our church were new, it would grow, you see. But the CEO, the leader, the epicenter is what makes that happen. Because if you look at somebody like Robert Schuller, for example, the founder of the Crystal Cathedral, he started with a drive-in. He started preaching at a drive-in movie theater. And then he built the Crystal Cathedral. And when he died, his poor children couldn't keep up the vision. They fought, the church fell apart, and now it's a Catholic cathedral. So it was built off of the vision of one person. He was the drive chain behind that whole thing. And so that was the common denominator that held it together. And we see that so many times where the establishment does have some foundation, but it falls apart. Like the United States of America is an established concept, and it's gonna come apart one day. It doesn't rest on one person, but the thing itself is destined to come unraveled. That's not prophecy. That's just the way things are. Concepts never last. But my point is this. You have to understand that you are the epicenter of your life. And that you are the drive chain. And if you have a sense of completeness about you, what you will desire is to simply express that in some business, in some YouTube channel, in some creative enterprise. You'll just want to create that expansiveness, because the flavor of the universe is evolution. It wants to evolve and expand. So a person who understands their wholeness is expanding wholeness, you see? So we exude the inner frequency, and it creates symptoms called my life. But the symptoms do not lead. The engine does. And you are the drive chain of your life. And if you understand your source, which is who you are, you will develop a growth mindset that whatever you touch turns into gold. So you will understand the fundamental principle behind the invisible universe. Something out of nothing. So you won't need a school to grow. You won't need an education to grow. You won't need any money to grow. Everything you touch, if you understand that source energy, everything you touch will turn into gold. You will be a miracle worker who simply expresses wholeness. How can wholeness expand? I don't know. It just does. And this is the idea of your cup being running over. Like you're overflow, so you're expressing from a place of so much joy, so much energy, so much enthusiasm. You can't help but, because if you try to hold that back, you'll burst. Most people, including me, I used to be this way, think the growth mindset comes when the supplies are there. when the tools are there, when the education is there, when the right people are there, then I will grow. Then I'll be able to do this. When I have enough money, I'll be able to become generous. When I have enough money, I'll be able to do this. When I have enough speaking skills, I can make a YouTube channel. When my writing gets better, I can start writing my book. When my body gets better, I can start going to the beach. And that is outer source deviation. That's where people are derailed, disconnected from what Sadhguru talks about as inner engineering, getting into the frequency of you being the source of it all. See, every tool that you think you need is simply just an extension of who you are. A screwdriver is an extension of your hand. $1 is an extension of you. You don't really need it. So what's in your bank account is an extension of you. The tools that you use is an extension of you. So here's where we mess up. I could put in your hands the best tools of the trade, and they would bump down to your inner frequency. It's like saying, okay, this particular politician needs a better office to become more effective. This particular politician needs a bigger Oval Office to become more influential. When there are people who are far more influential and went around wearing a diaper. I'm talking about Ramana Maharshi. He wore a loincloth and was one of the most influential. He had no money, no nothing. One of the most influential. He made a big impact with a naked body. He had nothing. Gandhi had nothing. Nothing except the inner power, which expanded, so he didn't need any tools. So whatever tools you've been given, if you touch them and use them, they'll turn into gold. This is the magic thing I'm trying to show you, is that the caboose will not push the engine. This is an inner frequency. Gobs of money will not give you what you need to create a business. This is the fundamental truth about being a powerful person, is that you understand the exponential, infinite increase of nothing into something. That's the secret. You don't need a thing. You don't need a thing to expand. If you're caught in a lack mentality, you're waiting for the tools, waiting for the promotion, waiting for the results. And that's why there's no momentum in your life. Because you think that something is needed before you can make something. So you believe in the Western mindset that God created the world. No. The universe is a magical phenomenon of something coming out of nothing. And the logical mind can't accept such a frivolous and simple formula. Because surely the universe came out of something. Right? It was made out of something. No. Something comes out of nothing. And to the person who understands that, everything they touch is exemplified because they exude the foundation of the universe, which is love. See, that's too Pollyanna. John Lennon was right. Love is all you need. That's the basic foundation out of which something arises. Nothing. So, once you realize at base level you were just this wonderful hum of love, You can create anything you want out of nothing. And you become this miracle worker, this effortless being who doesn't need outer source deviation, doesn't look at the symptoms or the effects and think that that is the cause. You are the uncaused cause, the epicenter of which sets everything into motion, the great nothingness that converts nothing into something simply because you want to. A want is just like that. What you want just pops into your head. No effort of your own. And that's a small form of what it is you'll see manifest into the physical world. That simple. And from a place of wholeness, you express yourself because you realize, hey, I'm already fulfilled. I'm whole. I'm okay. I'm safe. So I'm expressing that through some manifestation that on the physical level is evolving as well. Because I'm the epicenter of nothing, which just converts nothing into something. Whatever I touch turns into gold. It's like that Tootsie Roll commercial. Whatever it is I think I see becomes a Tootsie Roll to me. Oh, I see something in my head and there it is. Right? So that's how we express. We express from a place of wholeness, and there's never any craving, any need, anything missing, and we're not waiting for anything. You just do it right now. My name is Ryan. I hope you enjoyed these insights and that you'll start expressing yourself from a place of wholeness, that you are okay and there's nothing that you need. Please check out my blog. It's called My Morning Motivator. Or please read all of my books, if you can, on Amazon. And we'll see you next time. And thank you for watching.